Hello everyone and welcome to Science Week. Today we're talking about the science of regret and helping us understand regret from a scientific perspective. Hello everyone, as promised in the intro, today we're talking about regret and we're using the latest science developed by clinical psychologists to understand what is regret, how does it serve us, and how does it enter our lives. So as always, I'm going to begin with a quote on the subject, and that quote is, "Never look back unless you're planning to go that way." Henry David Thoreau. Never look back unless you're planning to go that way. Regrets are obviously from the past, and we talk quite often about past and future, and regrets only exist in the past. Therefore, the power that you give them is mind created. They're not part of your environment right now, they're not in your now, they're not in your reality, they're not in front of your face, so they must be empowered by the mind. And when the mind empowers something, it's only got two options: to destroy us or to serve us. So we're going to look at regret today, which is something I hear quite often from people. When people come to me, it's not always because things are going particularly well. Sometimes it's because they regret something that's happened in the past and they don't want it to happen again. So regret's a big thing. And for me, my personal story was when I first started my transformation, I regretted so much of my previous life. I regretted the way I treated people, I regretted the way I talked, I regretted the money that I chased, I regretted the opportunities I turned down. There was a lot of regret. However, that regret was a false regret, because how could I be here today without understanding those regrets? It's duality again, it's the black and white. The story, you can't open the last page of a story and read it and hope to understand it. It's a collective experience and you have to go through the book. I think the biggest regrets I had is that I created a story of me. And the story of me, that backpack of collection of stories we take with us, was supposed to have a timeline. It was supposed to, have kids at a certain age, have a career at a certain age, have a certain amount of money at a certain age. Does any of this sound familiar? And that story of me is never going to work out, because life is much more rich and the magnitudes of life are far outweigh what your mind can create. So I'd regret things. So if I said, by the time I'm 30, I want to be a millionaire, and if that didn't happen, I would regret things I did in the past that didn't make me a millionaire. So the story of me was really something I had to drop, and we've talked about that in previous videos. The story of you is not you. You are not your story. The past does not equal the future, and all of that collective junk that you carry around doesn't serve you. You are a divine being that's been hand-picked by the universe, encoded into DNA, brought into a physical form with a divine light shining through that can handle anything. You don't need to regret anything, you're all good. But it doesn't mean we don't think about it. So what is the science? Okay, so science is 90% of individuals surveyed had a major regret. So almost everybody had a major regret. So researchers looked at the key regrets, and number one was romance. Regrets about romance, whether that's regrets about breakups that shouldn't have happened or regrets that relationships you're in now should break up. Family, whether that's regrets about being closer to your family or the way that things have panned out in your family. Regrets about education, regrets about career, and regrets about finances. Now, what they also found, which was interesting, is the more choices an individual had in their life, the more they regretted. Now, this is something I talk about all the time with the destruction of choice. You're going to be okay. We, for 250,000 years, had very limited choices. We had to choose a mate, we had to choose a place to hunt, and we had to choose a community to live in. 3 choices, really. Now we have to choose between what Wi-Fi signal we want to connect to, what Netflix movie to watch. And what happens is the more choices you have, if you can imagine all your choices here, the more you have to regret, because you can only pick one. So when you pick one, you've got these 9 others that could have been good. But that's all mind created. The one you pick is the one the universe wanted you to have, because you don't always get what you want, but you get what you need. So what sort of information had that these scientists had found? The modern regrets are quite interesting. So 1 in 4 people regret buying a home. I'm from Australia, and the Australian dream is to buy a home, which definitely serves slave wages, allows you to put money into a mortgage that's used by international banks in order to buy derivatives and risky sums and loans that they then get bailed out from governments. And that process, that mortgage process, is something that many, many people regret. They realise that, yes, they end up with a house, and they hope to get security from the house, but what did they give up? Did they give up 30 years of living a life and scrimping and saving to get the house? And a lot of people, when they finally pay off the house, go, I don't know, this could have been different. You will have your own opinions on that. However, that's what the science says. When it comes to career, most people regret taking a job for more money that creates more stress. Interesting. 29% of people have regretted something they've posted on social media. I talk about this all the time. You don't need to post it. The collective unconscious knows, right? Let's talk about this right now. I think social media is an incredible tool. But before you go and put stuff out there that might be inflammatory or hurtful in particular, I've seen so much stuff about race and sexism at the moment, just remember that the social media engine you're posting it through is just a vehicle to store it. You can just think it and it's the same, but remember there's a big difference between thinking it and posting it. You'll have to live with that post forever. 25% of us regret sharing selfies. I think we feel like narcissists, but when we do it feels good, we look great, but then we regret it. And 31% of people regret tattoos. Now, I think those people didn't think it through. I love tattoos. I've got some beautiful tattoos of my children. But once again, what is it? It's not coming from your true heart. When people regret these things, and when they get a tattoo, for example, it's a Mickey Mouse tattoo, for example, that's not their true core. They're not a product of Disney. So they don't regret the tattoo, they regret the place they came from. The one thing that people regretted that was a negative is they didn't do, is they didn't invest in their passion. And they didn't love enough to the people that really counted. So they often regret the fact that there were relationships they could have given a bit more, and they quite often regret that the fact that they knew they had a passion or a hobby and they just didn't give it their all, and therefore it didn't become their life. So what's the upside of regret? Because remember, the universe only creates things that has a duality. So the upside of regret is, once we regret things, we start to look at our choices more carefully. We're less likely to just choose for the sake of them. The other upside is that we spend more time trying to fix mistakes because we understand that regret gnaws at us. You know, if you treat someone badly, the service of regret is that you might go back and apologise. And you might come back to that person and you might say, well, you know, I regret doing that, therefore not only will I not do it in the future, but I'll try and fix this with you right now. So regret gives you an opportunity. It's kind of like an echo. It's the echo of past mistakes. And on your karmic journey, as you build the perfect universe together with the other collective unconscious, you're going to be mistakes. And that's cool. And you're going to make them, and I'm going to make them, we're all going to make them. But we need to leave them behind and move forward and come from a place of love. If you're ever confused on what choice to make, and this has made my life so simple, I'm so happy to be able to give it to you. If there's a choice, which choice involves love? Okay, so an example was I got an interesting text from someone a few days ago which seemed that had a little bit of anger behind it. And I thought, how should I respond to this text? And the answer was simple, with love, because that will solve everything. So making a choice, find the choice that has the most love. If it's, should I treat this person in a certain way? Well, what's the most loving choice? Should I go on this holiday? Well, what's the most loving choice for myself? Come from a place of love and choices become easy. You never regret coming from a place of love. You always regret when you got a little bit angry, came from a place of hate, and then have to fix it later. Save yourself some time, come from a place of love, drop the regret, but if you still have it, use it to serve you, and we'll keep moving forward. But until tomorrow, I can't wait to see you. Until then, goodbye.